Information Station 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this rainy Tuesday morning. It is, 74 degrees still here at the Paddock Mall, Robin. Still morning temperatures.
Yeah,
still morning
I
temperatures.
like it. It's brisk.
Whenever I see police officers, I often wonder how they do their job because I know that they must face the worst among us. They must face the worst among us. I don't know how you have confidence that there are any good people out there at all. And obviously there are. Monica Bryant is here. She's the Family Violence Prevention Coordinator with the Marion County Children's Alliance. So good to see you again, Monica.
Thank you.
And we met each other at the Cascade, you
Yes,
said, right?
we did.
Wow, you're beautiful. And Cindy Turner is here, just as beautiful. You are the Crisis Center Intervention Specialist for the Marion County Sheriff's Department.
Yes, sir.
And there's a walk.
Yes.
And this walk will raise money, and the money that gets raised helps people who have been, I guess, the victims of domestic violence. Is
Yes,
that right?
That's correct.
Wow.
But we also, the biggest thing we want to bring out is awareness of domestic violence. We're trying to break the silence on domestic violence.
Who's staying silent? The victims?
Victims don't often come and tell people that they're being abused. They're embarrassed. They don't want people to know. They don't want their significant other to be in trouble. They usually keep it to themselves.
Wow. Well, first, good morning, ladies. Thank you for doing this. So I understand what you're saying. I mean, they don't want their significant other to be in trouble. That's a weird thing, isn't it? So they just got slapped around. So help me out here. I'm picturing a hand across the face. I'm picturing.
It's not always that.
It's not always that.
It's not always
So
physical.
What? Oh,
It
so
can be emotional, verbal, mental.
is it always man versus woman, or is
No,
it?
it's not. Actually, we've had several cases where we've actually had the woman actually kill her husband.
Kill.
Yes.
Well, that's an easy one to define.
Yes.
Lots
If
of-
he's dead.
Lots of times
yeah.
when we contact the male victims, they'll say, I'm not a victim. They don't want people to know they're being abused by a woman. And that's somewhat the problem. They don't let people know.
And it's understandable because if I was your wife
Yeah.
and you're a big husky
Big guy,
man
and
and
you're
I'm a
smacking
small
me around?
woman, how are you going to tell your friends?
I'm writing it in my diary.
But that's one of the.
I'm going to mark that in a book somewhere.
That's one of the misconceptions. It's not always physical, and that's what. By the time it turns physical, the verbal, the mental, and emotional has already been there. When they beat them down so bad, they have low self-esteem, and they just feel like they can't get anybody else.
So let's start with the low self-esteem, because that's when I witnessed this a lot, actually, not just with spouses, but with people in general. You're worthless. You're no good. You're stupid. Or that's good. There's a video out right now to try to do something about. That's good for a girl. That's good for a girl. Did you see this video?
No, I haven't seen.
But isn't that crazy? That's good for a girl. Oh, it's good for a girl. That's good for a boy too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's pretty good. There was a song by Melanie. I don't know I know both of you are not old enough to remember Melanie, but the Melanie from our generation. I think there's a newer Melanie, but she had a song one time where she was saying, some people say I've done all right for a girl. So yeah. So, but I mean, that's the emotional kind of thing you're talking
Yes.
about, right?
Or even, the mental thing, playing the mind games when you're in a relationship and they'll act like the perfect person around their friends and stuff, when it's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type thing.
Did you see the story the other day? This guy had a dream that his girlfriend was cheating on him. And then he physically woke up, he woke up and then physically beat her.
Yeah.
That was in the news just like 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take much, but what we hope to do, not only with the walk, but Cindy and I are both part of the Family Violence Prevention Work Group, which is made up of representatives of a lot of the organizations around here. We meet once a month, and we're the ones that come up with these community outreaches like the walk. We have a Night of Hope that's September 26th, where we actually have a speaker. Sheriff Blair was our speaker last year.
Right.
And Cindy, if you want to talk about why it's important.
What most people don't know about Sheriff Blair is that his sister was killed by her husband
I did not know that.
and had 2 children.
Oh, wow.
And he is going to be our keynote speaker
wow.
at the Walk of Hope. And we're hoping that lots of people will come to see Sheriff Blair's story. It's very compelling. It's one of the reasons he had become a police deputy
Is that right?
sheriff. Yes, sir.
I never knew that.
Yes.
That's crazy.
She was actually in the process of leaving, which is the most critical time in a relationship.
Oh, it is
when
so
he killed
scary,
her.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, we are bad, us guys. I mean, we
It's
really
not always
are.
guys.
I
not-
know, but
it's
it
not.
usually is.
And that's part of our efforts in retrain. It's not always a man abusing a woman. However, 85% of the time it is a man abusing a woman. But we do have women out there that are abusers
Yeah.
as well.
You're saying that to be fair, and I guess that's fair.
But another thing, what we mentioned before, is men don't report because they don't want people to know they're being abused by a woman. So there's probably more than the statistics show. They just don't.
Well, you know what I picture? I picture you're going to do the walk.
Yes.
People, there's 2 guys driving past. Well, what are these people walking for? They're getting abused by their spouses. And the guy says, well, that happens to me.
Well, what I did some numbers 2 years ago, and the state average is 1 in 18 persons are affected by domestic violence. In Marion County, sadly enough, it's 1 in 16. So
So we have
if
more.
you're in a classroom or at your work right now, 1 in 16 people are affected
Isn't
in
that
some
sad?
way.
Isn't that
Yes.
sad?
And it's just not physical, like you pointed out. It's emotional, too.
There's financial, there's sexual, even sometimes they use the person's religion. But what's important to remember about domestic violence, it does not discriminate.
Boy, what you've seen, huh? Are you ladies married?
I'm
Yes.
not.
You're not?
No.
You got to be real careful, right? You give them the 3rd degree? Are you married, Cindy?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
But I think if you're just in a relationship,
Right, right.
and there's safety planning that's available, and I always tell people, regardless of if you're married or not, you should have a safety plan for if something does happen,
Wow.
that you're prepared. Just like we prepare for the hurricanes, prepare for your life.
And
Right.
Cindy, as an intervention specialist, do you have to go down to the school sometimes because a student will go to the guidance counselor and say there's
Yes,
something going on?
We do, and I want to also mention something else on this. I do go to the schools when the SROs call me, when there's some type of... But Monica and I, a couple years ago, went to a couple of the middle schools to talk about dating violence, which works its way up to domestic if they continue in that relationship. And after we were done talking about dating violence, we had approximately 20 students go to the SRO and said they were already a victim of dating violence.
Really?
Oh, my.
So it's unbelievable. What domestic violence is a cycle usually. If they grow up as a child with their father abusing them, they look for a husband. They don't realize it, but give them the same attention their father does. And it's a cycle. So on our shirts that we pass out at the walk, it says domestic violence stops with me, because it's such a vicious cycle that they continue to go through.
That's a tough one, though. Yeah, somebody has to be able to recognize that, don't they? I'm guessing it doesn't always start with the father. I mean, I can imagine a woman who is always in these bad relationships, and somebody says, well, your father must have abused you, and maybe he was as good as gold and didn't. Maybe somebody else abused her earlier.
That's true.
Earlier.
It could be the mom, too.
Oh, it absolutely could be
yes.
the mother. Also, they may not have been abused as a child and get into a relationship. They think they've met their Prince Charming or princess, and it starts with belittling. And I don't like what you're wearing today. That don't look so good. Your hair, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Those glasses just are not.
I'm glad you're looking at Robin and not me.
Yeah, I know. So it starts with that, and
See, I get that all the time.
it lowers their self-esteem, whether it be male or female, and then they start believing that whatever they do is not correct. They didn't mow the grass correctly. They didn't wash the dishes correctly. They didn't fold their clothes correctly.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and then it escalates after that.
Yeah. He works in radio. You work in radio. All right, you know what? The important thing about what we do here with all of our guests that have something really important to talk about, we establish what you do, and then we find out a way that we can help. And that's what I want to do after the break, okay? Because you do have some really cool things. Like you got the marquee thing that we'll talk about when we come back. We do have to take a little break. I got the weather twice here. Look at that. 2 weathers. We'll be right back. Cindy Turner and Monica Bryant are here. We're going to learn about the 2014 Walk of Hope happening on September 13th. It's just like a 3-mile walk or something like that.
3.2 miles.
From the police department to the school.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, intervals of clouds and sun with a couple of thunderstorms around this afternoon and this evening. The high today, 88 to 92. And partly cloudy later tonight, though, 73 to 77. For tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sun with a couple of afternoon thunderstorms, high 89 to 93. Thursday, sunshine, some clouds, and maybe an afternoon thunderstorm, high 90 to 94. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
This weather brought to you by A&A Lockdock. Did you know that most break-ins happen during bad weather because it masks the sound? Don't be another victim. Protect your home and business today. Call A&A Lockdock, 352-867-1965. That's 352-867-1965.
Whether you're building it up or knocking it down, get it done, rent it now. Sunbelt Rentals is here to make your job a little easier. Our knowledgeable staff will help you find the right equipment for any job, big or small. Did you know that Sunbelt Rentals carries heaters, air conditioners, generators, lighting, traffic control, and so much more? So whether you're building it up or knocking it down, we've got the equipment you need. Get it done, rent it now. And right now, for a limited time, you can have it for less. Just by mentioning this ad, if you rent it Friday afternoon, you can keep it the whole weekend and only pay for 1 day. But this is a limited time offer, so stop into Sunbelt Rentals today, Northwest 27th, just a quarter mile east of I-75. For more information, just give us a call, 352-369-9101. 352-369-9101. Sunbelt Rentals. Get it done, rent it now. 352-369-9101.
We are The Source, WOCA, news, talk, sports, and more.
Leadership, experience, and proven results matter.
Re-elect Angie Boynton to the Marion County School Board District 4. I have put forth solutions to raise funds for our schools through other avenues. I advocate for the use of juvenile civil citations in lieu of arrest for first-time offenders of some student code of conduct policies. I support the positive alternative to out-of-school suspension. Teachers have their union, but students, parents, and the community need a voice. I will be that voice for you. Remember, vote Angie Boynton for the Marion County School Board District 4.
Paid political advertisement by the Angie Boynton campaign.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
WOCA,
AM 1370.
96.3. 96.3
All right, 18 minutes after 10 o'clock, raining, 74 degrees here at the Paddock Mall, and we are joined by Monica Bryant and Cindy Turner. They are here to talk about the 2014 Walk of Hope, honoring victims and survivors of domestic violence. It'll be on Saturday, September 13th, beginning at the Ocala Police Department at 8 a.m. and ending at this College of Central Florida, which is a 3.2-mile walk. And there's a reason for that walk, and it was interesting during the break we found out, so we're going to have them explain that on the air. And also, and from this point forward, I mean, I guess we could talk about domestic violence and understand what it is and the different ways it manifests itself. But let's see how we can help as a community with what you're doing. And the fact that you're doing it in September is also an interesting story. So first, tell me about the walk. There was some tragic story here in Ocala 10 years ago.
And there is, and although we use it for one of our victims, it's actually for all of our victims, but because domestic violence is something our community does not like to talk about, the 3.2-mile walk, Deborah Vasquez, one of our victims in 2004, she was killed at our Ocala Police Department on the front steps, but she was a professor at the college, and ironically it is 3.2 miles, and so we use that route not only to remember Deborah and all of our victims, but we want it to be out in the forefront, and State Road 200 is one of our main streets. I wasn't even going to try to say it anymore.
Did either of you know her? Did you know her?
No, I didn't, but we she was a beloved professor, and they actually at the college every year in October has the, she loved poetry, and she wrote beautiful poetry.
Is that
so
right?
they have her poetry series, and they have a tree planted out there in her honor.
Her family walks with us every year.
Is that right? Wow.
And her mom and dad live out of state, and so they actually have come for the walk, and I think her sister still lives here, and so but we just use that route, which gave it great significance, but it's really to remember all of our victims.
And survivors.
Yeah.
You have some wonderful ideas on how we can help, and I want to do that, but let's take a phone call first. You'll need your headset to be able to hear the caller, and hopefully you're ready. Okay, good morning, you're on the air. Thank you for calling.
Hello, Larry.
Hey, good morning.
It's me, Ronnie.
Who?
Ronnie?
Yeah?
Leadership? I'm going to talk to you on the radio at 11 o'clock Thursday morning so everybody can hear my voice.
Okay. All right, well, right now we're doing another interview. I don't know, are you listening to the radio?
Yeah, I do listen to the radio every day on you.
Okay, so you're coming in on Thursday.
Thursday at 11 o'clock, and I'll talk to you on the phone.
And is this the Ronnie who lives on Silver Springs Boulevard?
Yeah.
You live at Change of Pace?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I know who you are. So you're coming in on Thursday?
Yeah, I'll give you a call Thursday.
All right, thank you. All right, appreciate the call.
We're live.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a question for you, but that was entertaining.
Yes.
Half of my job is to be entertaining, and sometimes I get help. All right, so now you have all of the people who are trying to raise awareness about whatever it is, and you're all doing good things. Take a tip. Listen to this one. You have a request that if you have one of those marquees outside, to put a message on there, right? Explain a little bit more about that.
Well, with the Walk of Hope, we contacted a lot of the businesses that's within our route. Like Bravo, Nissan Pearson, they actually donate water, so we look for in-kind donations because we have water stops. Like Tuffy allows the walkers to use the restroom at their facilities.
R&R Tire, they actually provide snacks for our walkers.
Okay.
And that was an interesting story because last year we didn't make contact with them. We made contact and they provided all these snacks and we were surprised. Well, come to find out a couple of days later, I happened to be doing another event and the person that was working that day said that his mother was a survivor of domestic violence.
Wow.
And that's why they went above and beyond. So we are asking to paint State Road 200 purple and
With
put
balloons.
the signs out recognizing the Walk of Hope.
Okay, so purple's the color.
Purple is the color.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't know that. If you ask, a lot of them don't even know what month domestic violence
And
is.
Domestic Violence Month that you said is October?
It is.
But you're doing the walk in September because?
Because there's so much competition in October. Our Heart Walk is big here, and it's really established. Breast cancer is a huge thing here, and we felt like we just couldn't compete with that because this is only our third year having a walk.
Now, you also have on the list of things that we can do to help is to post a flyer or a poster on our businesses?
Correct.
Do we download that? Is that a PDF or something?
We've made packets and we've had representatives go out and actually.
Oh, you actually have some already made?
We've sent them to all the businesses. We have some of our committee members following up, and if they want the flyers, we will supply them. We're not asking them to do anything to expend any money on the flyers. We will give them to them. We're just asking people to, if you let us put flyers in your restaurant, even if you're a business and you want to offer our walkers a special deal on the day of the walk, if they wear their shirts, if you get that to us, that's a form of participation as well.
Last year, Cody's and First Watch offered 10% off if we wore our shirts in after the walk, and I know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, First Watch did a buy one, get one.
Oh, buy one, get one, I'm
nice.
sorry.
Yeah, half price, yeah. So any kind of way, if they just put purple balloons, like in our car dealerships or.
We're also encouraging the businesses to do a team, sponsor a team, maybe for their workers, because if they have over 16 workers, more than likely somebody that works for them is a victim of domestic violence. So we would love to see businesses like they do for the Heart Walk and the Breast Cancer Walk build a team. We will get the T-shirts to them early enough if they make their donation of their shoe size. so that they can wear their T-shirt for the walk.
You get a big donation from me if I did my shoe sign.
And you know what people don't understand, it's not always about the money, but what we use the proceeds from is to be able to continue to provide resources and services for our victims. Our work group, we raise this money and we
Is that the shelters? Is that part of what you... No, it's not the shelters.
No, the shelter is actually a member of our work group, and we do assist our shelter.
Okay.
Because as you know, funding has been cut from a lot of things, and so the shelter cannot always provide everything they need, but that's where we come in. So the shelter is part of our work group, but we pay rent, mortgage, utility assistance. We have emergency hotel, motel money, gas cards, things that it take you and I to live. And if you're in a domestic violence situation, even diapers. Something as small as that.
Right.
Oh, you're helping take away the fear when you make this kind of event public and letting people know that there is help out there. It may take them a little while to decide they're going to leave, but you're helping get rid of that fear.
Go ahead. There's many resources available. There's counseling. If there's an actual act of violence, there's relocation assistance available, legal aid, many things that victims don't even realize is available to them.
And it's free.
You have a website. I just typed it in here. BreakTheSilenceOnViolence.org.
That's correct.
Now, is that a website just for our local group?
No, it's actually for Circuit 5. Because we're
Circuit
Citrus
5.
Merit.
Oh, I see what you're
Yes, it's for our circuit.
So on the website, do I find anywhere on here where I can help out the walk?
Yes, there's a Walk of Hope tab, and all of our sponsorship information. You can register for the walk through Eventbrite. There's a link on there for that.
Okay.
So, and you can see the other things our work group does to bring awareness in Marion County.
To participate in the walk, is there a fee?
There's not actually, if you don't have any money, we're not going to say you can't walk, but what we do is we came up with this clever idea, donate your shoe size, and you can get a free T-shirt.
I'm sorry, I'm
but you
asking
you can walk for free.
Okay, yeah, I guess that part wasn't clear to me. Okay, and do you have a goal? How much money are you hoping to raise?
No, we never set a goal because, like we said, domestic violence is one of those things this community has not really embraced yet. So 3 years ago, we didn't have a walk.
Yeah. Well, the sheriff's story, I never knew that before.
A lot of people don't. He's been a tremendous help to us.
My sister is no longer with us. My sister had some terrible life, and she did not have a bad father, and that's kind of why I brought that up earlier. And I'll tell you really in a nutshell, she was raped when she was a child, and we never knew it as a family until years later, very, very close to the end of her life. I remember one time being at her place, and we had to call the ambulance. She couldn't breathe. And I was looking at her husband, or I don't know if they were married, or what the guy she was with. He was awful. He was a terrible guy. She did exactly like you said, Cindy. She found herself these guys that were awful. Not always. There's a couple guys out there still living that I don't want them to hear me and think that I'm saying that they were awful too. But she had her share of awful guys. And I looked at this guy and I said to him, "Did you choke her? What did you do to her? She can't hardly breathe. We had to call an ambulance." And then when she finally could, he said he swore up and down he didn't do it, but I, to this day, think he did. And that's not how she died, by the way. But I asked her when she finally could breathe again, "Did he choke you?" And she said, "No," but I could tell that the no was a reluctant no. And then when the police came, they were asking too, "Did he choke you?" And she was saying no. And I said, "Doreen, you got to tell him the truth if he did." And just like you said, she was protecting him for whatever reason.
Well, because they know when the police are not there and family members and you're with that person.
Right.
If they do things out in public, that's kind of a sign that at home may be a little worse.
See, isn't this crazy? I mean, we live in a weird world, don't we? I mean, we preach we want peace on earth, right? We want the wars to end, in these far-off places, and we do want them to end. But we got wars in our own homes.
And, we're realistic. We know that domestic violence will probably never go away. But if we can educate women, men, children, because it happens to everybody, at least our communities will be a lot safer.
Thank you for what you both do. You both really make a huge difference in our world, and I hope you know that. And I hope you're thanked for that. I know that you see the worst among us, both of you, in both lines of the work that you do. So our task is a lot easier than yours. Ours is to get the word out about what you're doing, and hopefully we've done that today. The video that we just made will be online, and if you will allow us to, on that Saturday morning, we'll show up with it's not a professional video camera, but we can make a little video.
Yes.
That then you can use, and maybe it'll help generate more interest for next year's event.
That would be great.
We did that for the Habitat and
Yes.
a couple of other groups. So
That would be great.
We would love that.
Yes.
we'll
Thank
make a
you.
commitment to be there on Saturday morning, September
13th.
13th. Okay.
8 o'clock.
And what they need to remember is park at CF, because Suntran will transport walkers.
Oh, okay.
They need to be at
Okay.
CF around 7:30 so
No,
that they can.
earlier than
Or
7:30.
how early?
Okay.
Sorry.
It's going to start about 6:45.
Thank you so much. We have to run.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. The star of The Big and Small Screen has died. Robin Williams, an apparent suicide by asphyxiation, known for movies like Mrs. Doubtfire and Good Morning Vietnam, and many TV appearances.
You get nervous? Do you
Very
do
much
many
so.
shows?
I suffer from severe dyslexia, too. I was the only child in my block on Halloween to go trick or trout.